Today's video is going to be all about Dominion, why a good chunk of the player base dislikes it, and ways to make Dominion enjoyable for more. Some of the things we're going to be talking about are my own personal preferences, as well as some of the things I've seen other people be vocal about in their displeasure of Dominion. So we'll go over most of them, which includes the Valguards, the shop, AoE, map selection, and custom stats. But if I miss anything in this video that you also think might need correction in Dominion, leave them down in the comment section, and your comment might be featured in my next SPELLFIX video at the end. So the first thing we're going to be talking about are these annoying little guys, the Valguards. And just because I'm curious, raise up your hand right now if you've been exiled by one or had one of your exiles stolen. Come on guys, don't be shy. And that's just one of the few annoying things about Valguards. They can do anywhere from 10 to 40 damage. And yes, 40 damage. It's happened enough for me to say 40 damage. And they also take people out of invis, which is maybe a pros and cons depending if you hate invis with a passion. And there's been a handful of times where Valguards have literally fought people while capturing a point. I've seen this most happen on the Sun Zone of both Bogmore and Banehelm. Overall, I feel like the Valguards take more than what they give. The only real use that I see with Valguards, at least in ranked Dominion, is that you can use them as a sponge to get HP back if you're running Vampiric. I can see the Valguards staying in unranked Dominion, but at least for a ranked Dominion, you could just take them out. Because I've actually seen players purposely jump into a camp of Valguards just so they can get exiled. Because when a player gets exiled, the person who's about to exile them doesn't get an assist, the team doesn't gain a point either. So it's just a very frustrating thing, and at times it just feels like you gotten cheated out of an exile. The second thing we're going to talk about is the shop. As you can see, Paladin's shop is a lot more user-friendly and simple in my opinion, and less cluttery as well. You can have sections for gauntlets, runes, blessings, consumables, and sorceries. Yes, sorceries. Apex Legends does something similar with their characters as well, so that people aren't spamming their tactical abilities all the time in their arena modes. I feel like if you force players to buy their sorceries, it can really reduce the AoE that's present in Dominion, which is another thing that a lot of people dislike. I'm thinking anywhere from 2 sorceries per recall per gauntlet. Or every time someone recalls, you can just make it standard that the max amount of sorceries that they have per gauntlet is 2. And because of this, I feel like you might have to readjust the whole recall mechanism to prevent people from recalling all the time. Maybe increase the amount of boons that you need before you can recall. As well as readjusting the boon system where you can reward players for other things like standing on a point for X amount of seconds gives you X amount of boons, or something along those lines. I'm not too sure. And this could also make potions a little bit more useful, because right now in Dominion, I barely ever use potions. Why use potions when I could just recall to get my HP back? And also, this shop can actually make Spellslinger useful. Currently, Spellslinger is one of the most useless talents in Dominion because RNG just screws you over so hard. It's already hard enough to upgrade 1 gauntlet. Trying to upgrade 3 gauntlets is just nearly impossible unless you have gilded. So for the gauntlet section, getting a new gauntlet should obviously cost more than upgrading one. As I mentioned beforehand, AoE is a reason why a lot of people dislike Dominion, and forcing people to have only 2 sorceries per recall per gauntlet is a great way to minimize AoE, but there's more that can be done. You can either make the zones bigger, the sorceries smaller, or my favorite, a little bit of both. I feel like doing a little bit of both can really make Dominion less unbearable for a lot of people. Now that we have AoE out the way, let's talk about map selection. I feel like Proletariat should take a book out of Splitgate and a lot of other games that let players choose what map they want to play on before entering the game. Basically, this gives Proletariat feedback and players have more choice, which is a good thing. The feedback comes from the fact that Proletariat can see that the pick rate for certain maps are a lot lower than the other ones, and that should give them a clue as to saying, oh, the community does not appreciate this map as much as the other ones. There might be something wrong with it. And this can lead them to either improve that map or make sure that the next map that they have doesn't include a lot of the same elements. For example, in Banehelm, maybe people just don't like the fact that it's so large and Star Zone is so far away from Moon and Sun. Or it could be the fact that you can contest the point while standing on floating structures. By the way, very annoying, especially if someone's running invis as well, because then you just don't know where they can be while contesting a point. I feel like this can really make Dominion a lot more enjoyable, because there's been times where I've gone in the same map 3 times in a row and it was Banehelm. Personally, my least favorite map. The last thing I want to talk about is custom stats. What I mean by custom stats, I mean that certain abilities, talents, or even gauntlets shouldn't be doing the exact same thing in BR as in Dominion. Once again, Respawn realized this when they were making their arenas mode. Certain characters' abilities like Octane and Watson's passives aren't as strong in arenas as it is in BR. For example, Rebirth. One of the reasons why Proletariat decided to buff Rebirth was because it was completely useless in Battle Royale. But in Dominion, Rebirth is incredibly strong, same with Chrono. And because of this, I feel like Proletariat should realize that the way you play in BR is different than the way you play in Dominion. Therefore, certain things need different stats. So maybe Rebirth shouldn't last for a full 4 seconds in Dominion, but can in BR. Or maybe Chrono shouldn't last as long in Dominion as it does in BR. So that's just one of the things, and I feel like it will make balancing a lot easier, especially with certain gauntlets being more useful in one game mode versus another game mode. Before we end the video, I just want to give a quick shout out to Kaz and PinkJoy28. Kaz thinks there should be an element resistant potion where it can resist fire, wind, and other elements as well, and only lasts for a short amount of time. I think that would be kind of cool as a defensive kind of thing, where the amount of damage that you take from a certain element is greatly reduced. PinkJoy28 says that they love the pocket TP idea of my previous video. Once again, thank you to those two for commenting. You guys also leave some comments how you feel about these ideas, and also include some of your own if you have any to make Dominion better. Till next time, stay safe, and I'll see you guys later.